Imagine a festival in the heart of the Aztec Empire, not of music but of profound, even terrifying significance. During the ceremony, a priest would appear before the people not in robes but cloaked in the freshly flayed skin of another human. This was no random cruelty, it was a sacred ritual called Tlacaxipehualistli, the flaying of men. The act connected the Aztecs to their gods, their crops, and the cycle of life and death. The flayed skin was a symbol, just as a seed must break to grow or a snake must shed its skin, so too must the old be cast off for the new to emerge. The priest wearing the skin embodied this transformation, representing the earth shedding its dry covering for spring's renewal. The sacrificed were often captured enemy warriors, seen not as mere victims, but as divine representatives. Their journey from capture to sacrifice was ritualized, blending honor with doom. They lived among the community, treated with respect, before fulfilling their sacred purpose. For the Aztecs, the boundary between physical and spiritual was blurred. A person could become a vessel for a god. Acts of violence could be acts of creation. Wearing another's skin wasn't about becoming that person, but about embodying a divine process. It was a way to physically participate in the god's story, making renewal and fertility visible to all. This ritual was a living metaphor for the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The old was not discarded in vain, it was transformed, ensuring the community's survival. Through this act, the Aztecs believed they maintained the balance of the world. The festival was a reminder, life and death are intertwined and renewal demands sacrifice. In this way, the Aztecs brought the abstract into the tangible, making the divine cycle real. At the center of this ritual stood Xipe-Totec, our lord the flayed one. Far from a god of death, Xipe-Totec was the deity of agriculture, spring and renewal. He symbolized the earth shedding its old skin to bring forth new life. Myths tell of Xipe-Totec flaying himself to feed humanity, revealing a golden body beneath, an act mirroring the seed losing its husk to sprout. This self-sacrifice was a divine model for the pain and transformation needed for growth. Aztec art depicted him wearing a flayed human skin, hands and face draped over his own, illustrating new life emerging from the old. The ritual of wearing human skin directly imitated Xipe-Totec. The impersonator or became a living image of the god, bringing him to earth. By reenacting his sacrifice, they renewed the god's power for another year. This ensured rain, fertile crops, and food for the people. The act was not grotesque but a literal embodiment of renewal. Through this ritual, the community participated in the divine drama. The god's presence was made real, and the promise of life was renewed. Xipe-Totec's story was a powerful metaphor for the cycles of nature and survival. Tlacaxipehualistli, the festival for Xipe-Totec, was one of the Aztecs' most important celebrations, held each spring. Its timing marked the end of the dry season and the hope for rain and new crops. The festival began with the sacrifice of captured warriors atop temple pyramids witnessed by thousands. Their hearts were offered to the sun, their bodies rolled down the steps, a public act of cosmic repayment. The bodies were then flayed by skilled priests, the skin removed with care and reverence. The skin became a sacred garment, treated with oils and prepared for its next role. The final stage saw priests or warriors donning the skins, becoming living symbols of renewal. For 20 days they walked the city, collecting offerings and embodying Xipe-Totec. Their presence was both awe-inspiring and hopeful, a sign that the cycle of life continued. The people saw in them the promise of spring and the renewal of the earth. The ritual was a communal plea for fertility and survival. Every stage reinforced the connection between sacrifice, transformation, and rebirth. The festival was not just spectacle, it was the heart of Aztec spiritual life. Through it, the community reaffirmed its bond with the gods and the land. The central figures in this ritual were captured enemy warriors. Aztec warfare, known as the Flowery War, aimed to capture, not kill, for the purpose of sacrifice. Captives were honored, fed, and celebrated before their fate, elevated from prisoners to sacred offerings. The gladiatorial sacrifice was a dramatic event. A captive, tied to a stone, faced elite Aztec warriors with only a mock weapon. His bravery was part of the offering, a spectacle of honor and doom. The captor's status soared. He would often wear the skin of his defeated foe. This act was more than victory, it was a sacred transformation. By donning the skin, the captor absorbed the captive's spirit. becoming a living image of Totec. The ritual wove together captor, captive, and God in a shared identity. It was a powerful statement of renewal, strength, and divine connection. Through sacrifice, the community and its warriors were spiritually transformed. The sacrifice was the festival's climax, life given to the gods with precise ritual. The victim's heart, believed to hold the sun's energy, was offered to Huitzilopochtli, repaying a cosmic debt. The body was rolled down the pyramid, then taken to the Coacalco for flaying. The skinning was meticulous, performed by skilled priests aiming to remove the skin in one piece. Incisions were made along the back and limbs, the skin carefully peeled away. The skin was then treated with salt and stretched to prepare it for wearing. This process transformed raw flesh into a sacred vestment. The prepared skin, or zipe, was now imbued with the spirit of the sacrificed and the power of the god. It would be worn for 20 days, a living symbol of transformation. The ritual was not about desecration but about preparing for renewal. Through this act, the Aztecs believed they sustained the world's balance. Once prepared, the flayed skin was donned by a chosen individual, often the warrior who captured the victim. This was a moment of transformation. The impersonator became a living image of Totec. The skin fit like a gruesome suit, the victim's face worn as a mask. For 20 days these figures walked the city, their presence both shocking and sacred. The decaying skin was not horror, but a sign of divine renewal. The impersonators moved in groups, carrying ritual staffs and collecting offerings. Citizens gave food and gifts, not to the man, but to the god he embodied. This was communal participation in the plea for a bountiful harvest. The period included mock battles, symbolizing the struggle between fertility and drought. The impersonators' victory represented the triumph of life over death. The ritual was a living lesson in the cycles of nature. Through these acts, the community witnessed and enacted the promise of spring. The god walked among them and the world was renewed. The festival was a living metaphor for the agricultural cycle. The sacrificed warrior was the seed, giving up his life so new growth could begin. Flaying the skin mirrored the seed shedding its husk to sprout. The priest wearing the skin embodied the old clinging to the new, a lesson in rebirth. As the days passed, the skin dried and decayed, mirroring winter's end and spring's arrival. The peeling skin symbolized the earth's renewal, revealing new life beneath. At the end of 20 days the skins were buried, completing the cycle. The impersonator was cleansed, returning to humanity after embodying the god. The ritual marked the transition from winter to spring, death to life. It was a communal affirmation of survival and hope. The symbolism was clear: renewal demands sacrifice. Through this ritual, the Aztecs enacted the eternal cycle of nature. The community emerged renewed, ready for the challenges of the new season. To us, these rituals may seem barbaric, but for the Aztecs they were essential. Their world was fragile, always at risk of cosmic collapse. Sacrifice was a contract with the gods, a payment to keep the sun rising and the rains falling. Wearing another's skin made abstract beliefs tangible: the earth's renewal, the transfer of life force. These acts were sacred theater, uniting the community in a shared purpose. Violence was framed as creation and rebirth, not senseless cruelty. The death of one sustained the life of many. Understanding this context reveals the depth and logic of Aztec civilization. It challenges us to look beyond shock and see the humanity in their beliefs. The arrival of the Spanish ended these rituals, replacing them with new beliefs and erasing much of the old. For centuries the Aztecs were seen only through the eyes of their conquerors, portrayed as savages, their deeper meanings lost. Today, archaeology and scholarship reveal a more nuanced truth. The wearing of flayed skin was not random terror but a profound symbol of renewal and cosmic balance. Totec's story reminds us that what shocks us may hold deeper meaning. The Aztecs were not monsters, but people seeking order in a dangerous world. Their legacy invites us to keep questioning and learning about the past. If you found this journey fascinating, subscribe for more explorations into history's mysteries.